Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello guys, how are today? My name is Annisa Rosmawati. I'm from 4D class of English Education Department. For this time, I would like to tell you about Chapter 5, Lecture and Discussion section, page 15. We are still talking about Chapter 5 because last week we made an outline of a lecture on the video on English as Lingua Franca. So, I will outline it for myself. English as lingua franca is its most simple definition is the use of English between speakers who don't share a first language. So, English as lingua franca or ELF refers to teaching, learning, and use of the English language as a common means of communication or contact language for speakers of different native languages. Native speakers English are not the major of English as lingua franca users, and the kind of communication we get in health does not follow native speakers like English. The reason to be interested in English as lingua franca is the numbers of speakers of ELF or user of ELF. They are estimated to be around between 1 and 3 and 1 in 4 of the population of the world that can use English at some level or for some functions. English is no longer centered on the Anglophone world and native speakers countries such as UK and US. Ownership of English has now spread around the world. World English, the study of varieties of English, for example, Indian English, Singaporean English, and Nigerian English. Lingua franca is not about a variety of English. It is about English used as a contact language or a language of intercultural interaction or communication. English as international language as a form of international English in a variety of English. English as a lingua franca, it is not a variety of English and certainly not an international variety. English as French language, communication between non-native speakers of English and native speakers of English where the non-native speakers are expected to conform and adjust their language use to native speakers. English as lingua franca involve native speakers, but they are not the majority and the focus is on intercultural communication. So the non-native speakers are not expected to adjust their English to native speakers like English. Rather, native speakers are expected to adjust their English as much as all other participants in communication. As a major research area, it has really got going in the last 20 years or so. Is a relatively new field of study that has been looked at for a long time. Fiona Sport International Corpus of English, led by Barbara Seidhofer and her team, and then Alpha Corpus, English as a Lingua Franca in Academia Corpus, led by Professor Amma Merli at the University of Helsinki, and the last Jennifer Jenskin, the Lingua Franca Core. So I think that is enough. Sorry if there's any mistakes. Thanks for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.